Welcome back to Nick Lenz Comic Corner Classic Classic Known Classic. This episode number 2302 and episode number 2196. Now we have a Wolverine trade and a Spider-Man trade. First there was Wolverine Epic Collection Volume 2 Back to Basics. Yeah, for some reason Paul didn't have this one, and neither did Basic Mocha Library, but luckily this website had this book. Yeah, and this book collects Wolverine Volume 2 issue 1730 and two one-shots, Wolverine the Scorpion Connection and Wolverine Jungle Venture. The writing here is done by Archie Goodwin, Walter Simonson, Pierre Dave, and Joe Duffy. Art by Howard Schenken, Mike Mignola, John Byrne, Late Gene Cullen, John Bushma, Claus Jansen, Barry Kitson, and Bill Jassa. The front cover is done by Jim Lee and Avalon's Matt Milita. The back cover is John Byrne. Now, you might be asking, have any of you worked in this book? Yes, I have. I've actually met two of you. I actually have met Howard Schenken once at a Comic-Con. I think it was back in 2019, I think it was. And I met Peter Day a couple times, but I didn't met any other people who worked in this book. Now, the first things to put in here is two one-shots. The Wolverine Chess, Nick Fury, Scorpion Connection, Wolverine Jungle Venture. But the main issues cover for the period of late November 1989 and concludes in September 1990. Yeah, very short amount of issues, only about 14 issues. Why? Because there was some one-shots. First you have the Scorpion Connection with Archie Goodwin and Howard Schenken. This is basically a Wolverine Nick Fury story where a team will take on a version of the Zodiac. Yeah. That's mostly what this is, plus I love Howard Schenken's artwork. Yeah, also features appearances by Arcade of all people, which is interesting. Yeah. This overall it's like basically what the remains of basically, well, the Zodiac Cartel. I would say they've merged it, but it's very interesting to say if what it is. And it's a very good one-shot. It's quite lengthy. I try to explain why there's only 14 issues because of these two one-shots. Then we have the Jungle Adventure. In the Jungle, we have Wolverine vs. Apocalypse. Yes. And this is all worked by Mike Mignola. Yep. And this is just a standalone Wolverine story. They threw in here probably just cause. But it's a very good one-shot. Oh, come on, seriously. Yeah, so basically after this one-shot, then we move on to the main series with issue number 17. Now, I do love the interiors for this book. This one's done by John Byrne. Most of this is a standalone story called Basics. We have Wolverine basically going hunting and killing an animal. Storm seeing it. It's a nice standalone issue. Yeah, Wolverine becoming patch again. Shit. Yeah, Basics itself is just a really, really fun issue. A little bit of hunting, just a lot of fun here. Mostly put for these issues, it's set in Australia, which you could say this is during a period of time where you have basically this Wolverine being patched and then we have take on Roughhouse again. Yes, Roughhouse turned into this grotesque creature. Roughhouse is one of these Wolverine villains who did appear a lot about these early issues. Yeah, he made his return in these issues since issue 8, and he's here up until issue 23. And he returns one at a time in 123. Yeah. This guy called Gist, who basically just a mad scientist, who basically just turns Roughhouse and we return Tiger Tiger. I mean, very sexy as ever. We have basically someone, Daniel. Yeah, he's basically the owner of a place called the Princess Bar. Yeah, the Princess Bar, which is basically a location that was featured very heavily in the pages of Wolverine to issue 17. Yep. Archie Cunningham is just basically just a pilot. He's here until issue 98. Which, yeah, that's something to do with later. And then we do the Acts of Vengeance stuff, where you have Wolverine for the next 2 issues take on Tiger Shark. Yeah, take on Tiger Shark from the pages of Submariner. Because of course he does. And it fights a guy called Spore, who first appears in issue 21, who only appears in issue 21 to 23, and appears in one off issue of Iron Man, and that's it. Says Salvation, her husband, or ex-husband, well, how should I put this? The guy was a drug dealer, and blew up a mission, and the fact they had a son together, which is interesting. Yeah, it's just like they're just there. The X-Men basically try to stay out of Wolverine's affairs. Now we have Felix Governor, who's just a drug dealer. He is the... I think he's supposed to be the husband of Sister Salvation. We have one named Lembrenda Barda. She, of course, is around for a little while. Yeah, and she appears in these issues. She's like basically a regular superhero. She's here just for these set of issues, and then she's not seen again. Guest and Spore killed off in issue 23, and then 24 basically takes on someone called the Snow Queen. More Wolverine is Patch. 25 is basically Pigott. 26, it just basically Wolverine as Patch. Then Gene Cleamore, who just basically a couple one-shot villains, and a Stanley by Mary Jo Duffy. And then 27 begins the Lazarus Project. This 4-part story. Yes, a 4-part story that basically involves a character by the name of General Coy, who's here for this entire story. Who's here for parts of the story, but not the entirety of it. Yeah, he just basically went to villains. The first appearance of a character named Pinocchio. Yeah, a robot. Yes, a freaking robot, who only appears just for this story arc. Yeah, it's just some government project. Wolverine finds out about, just trying to shut it down. That's most what Lazarus Project is. Now you might be thinking, something called Lazarus. Are they resurrecting people? Well, not really. We also have a death of a guy named Captain Maverick. Well, he dies and then he comes back. Yeah, it's a very good story arc. I at least got handed to. Mary Jo Duffy for this story arc. It's really, really good. Yep, and then we wrap up basically with 31 with that. Yeah, the book itself was really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I give this book roughly a 10 out of 10. Let's see, where are you? Here we go. Next up we have is Marvel Masterworks, The Spectacular Spider-Man Volume 1, which collects the first 15 issues of this ongoing series. Like, you read these early issues, it seems like we're just continuing plot stuff from other comics in this series and doing its own stuff in here. This book had 3 writers in 15 issues, thinking, really? Well, that's how Marvel did things in this book. Just swap on different writers, have these writers take turns. Yeah. You have Archie and Bill Mantle and Jerry Conway. Now, the first writer of this book is just Jerry Conway. He does the first 3 issues. He co-writes issue 3 with Jim Shooter. Archie Goodwin does issues 4, 5, 7, 12, and 15. Bill Mantle is 9, 10, 12, 15. Chris Claremont co-does issue number 11. Sal Buscema is your main artist for a majority of these issues, who does 1 through 5, 7 through 10, and 12 15. Jim Mooney does issue number 11. Who does issue 6? The Action Credit. Now, these issues came out of the period of December 1986, includes in February 1978. The first issue, we have Return of Tarantula, which they reference the events of his debut back in Amazing Spider-Man 135 136, which featured Return of Punisher. Yep, the whole point is Tarantula comes back and kidnaps his Vice Chancellor, which gets kind of resolved by issue 3. Which, yeah, then pretty much after this is dealt with, course, trying to kill the mayor. And then right next issue, we have Return of Kraven the Hunter. Yep. And despite that, basically, we have basically what happened. Just the course issue after the events of Amazing Spider-Man 164, obviously. And then you have Kraven eating tarantulas, like, oh, you're going to replace me? Nope. And the guy who's here, who's La Leader, yeah, who he is, they reveal this issue number 3. Yeah, then basically, oh yeah, we have this chubby guy who's the Chancellor, like, oh, he's getting away, and of course he gets kidnapped and gets rescued anyways. We also have Gloria Grant, who kind of makes her debut in these issues, and to get James's new secretary, who stays secretary for a long time. Yep, and after those two are dealt with, those two, we have debut a brand new villain, the Light Master. Yes, which Dr. Octopus, when he possessed Spider-Man, he called him a sealess villain, which he kind of is. Also, Joe, this guy is the father of a superhero. Yes, seriously. He's the father of Sun Girl. The Monday Sun Girl, Chris Yo's character. He goes, wait, I thought you were black. I'm biracial. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Yeah, it's one of those things where he just smacks you with his web, about bringing money. He fights Light Master. Light Master basically takes out Tarantula for failing. He gets tied up, and of course, he gets knocked out. When is he returning, you might ask? Well, after this issue here, Tarantula returns in Amazing Spider-Man 233. Yeah, he's not around very long. Not really. Yeah, he gets killed off not long after he shows up in Amazing Spider-Man, making a brief stop over Captain America. Yeah, where he dies. Yes, he dies in that issue. Yep, I'll discuss later point, but don't worry about that. Yeah, but he comes back in the Prowler. And surprisingly, he's still around because he was cloned. Yep. The Light Master returned a little bit later, like about 2 years later. So then, of course, we set up a plot thread here with a woman named Shaw Shane, who is, well, Flash's old girlfriend, Flash Thompson. Shaw Shane, who was the original character in this book, she actually had her first appearance back in Amazing Spider-Man 208. But that was only a flashback. Here, she's here full modern day. By the way, this guy, Richard Gorman, who's the Chancellor, he never returns after this one. He's here for 2 issues and he disappears. Never to be seen again or heard from again. Presumably, he resigned because of the whole stuff with him. Yep. And then we have the first appearance of a brand new character. Well, I can shoot him. One is named Brother Power, Akam Cobra. He becomes Brother Power a little bit later. Who is, get this, Shaw Shane's husband. Yeah. But we have a debut of a brand new character in the very next issue. After Spider-Man defeats Light Master, he disappears for a while. And then we have issue 4, where we have return of the Vulture. Yes, the Vulture. And aside from him, basically we have debut of a new character, the Hitman, who appears in this issue, the following issue, and then pops up in 2 issues of Amazing Spider-Man. And that's it for him. Yep. So, I'll get to him. Matter of fact, I'll discuss him in later Comic Corner because it's quite interesting, his backstory. Yeah. So, after this wraps up here with Vulture and Hitman, then we have the Human Torch team with Spider-Man take on Michael Morbius. Well, it's not here fully because it's a reprint. Yep, it's just a reprint. You're thinking, really? Yeah, really, it's a freaking reprint. Which is strange for this book, the fact we have a reprint. And we're only 6 issues in, we have a reprint. And this was the first issue done by Jerry Conway. Actually, it was like the last issue you worked on. Yeah, then pretty much we deal with him in the very next issue. We also got a guy called Morgan, who was sadly no longer around. Yeah, he got killed on an issue of Daredevil. Boss Morgan, if you're curious when he first showed up an issue of Captain America. Yes. Also popped into issue of Power Man after his 3 issues. He appeared like once in Marvel Team Up. Yeah. Yep. After we have Morbius in issue number 7 and 8. While continuing the plot thread, we have, with this guy called Roman Vasquez, who was only here just for a couple issues. Yeah. And the reason why he's here? Because apparently Bill Mansell decided to bring over 2 characters he created. White Tiger, who is Victor Alla, who debuted back in Deadly Hands Kung Fu number 19. Yeah. So I basically, and this is my personal guess, he probably went after he probably felt this, okay, so the series ending, so he figured, why not have basically like I'm a recurring character, let's make him a supporting character in particular Spider-Man. Yes, seriously. That is what they did with him. So he appears for this 2-part, possibly again a little bit later. And there's also a guy named Doyer, who is basically who was only here just for 2 issues. And he also called the Black Hand Gang, who are another group of characters from the pages of Deadly Hands Kung Fu. It's like, yeah, just continue that, and of course, Black Bard, who's a detective, who's actually still around, surprisingly. He's never died. After his time, he appeared in Peter Parker's Second Spider-Man for a handful of issues. Then, he appeared in Thor and has appeared since then. Yeah, it's weird though. He's a very interesting character. Issue 11, we have Spider-Man fighting Medusa, for reasons. 12 begins the story arc that basically culminates next 2 issues. It's the Legion of Light story arc, where basically Flash tries to be shot ashamed because it's a woman he loves at this point in time. Despite the fact he's also Betty Brant. So it's like, you came again, and then they're attacking the park, Spider-Man gets involved, and then issue 12 ends, they have a brand new character, a character known as Razorback, who they fight each other, and then of course the colony goes realize, oh yeah, they're after somebody else. He's after his sister Bobby Sue, yes, that's her name. He's from like the South. So he drives his truck called the Big Pig, and Spider-Man team up with Flash Thompson to rescue Shawshank, from the Legion of Light stuff. And their leader is the Hate Mongler. You're thinking, who the heck is the Hate Mongler? Well, the original was a clone of Hitler. Yes, seriously, Stanley created him back in Fantastic Four number 21. Except that guy's dead. Yeah, he's freaking dead. And he's the leader of this group. Yeah. And get this. He decided to pose himself as the guy who really is the character after they unmask it, after they break into his place. And he's got this mysterious power to influence people. Yeah, and then of course they have this concert. So they have Spider-Man and Razorback and Flash that we really captured, but thanks to Spider-Man Free and thanks to using the Big Pig, they go and fight who's responsible. Like, hey, he's a hate monger, but he's dead. And of course, in the unmask him, he's actually the Man Beast. And you're thinking, yeah, he. Oh, by the way, I actually have been scared before. He's actually a villain from Thor. Yes, a Thor villain fighting Spider-Man. And he's used the Legion of Light to cause chaos. And Spider-Man ends up fighting him. Razorback deals with, well, Shawshane's husband. Of course, Flash deals with Shawshane himself. Yeah, he actually returned in the pages of a different comic book. Mm-hmm. Yep. So, they wrap up the storyline with issue number 15. Though Bobby Sue, who is, well, Razorback sister, she doesn't return after this. She's only here just for these 3 issues, for issue 13 and 15, and then that's it. No, seriously. That is it for the character. Mm-hmm. But that's Razorback. He actually does come back after this. And you're thinking, really? Well, after aside from an issue of, well, aside from cameo in the later issue of this book, he basically became a recurring character in the pages of Sensational She-Hulk when John Byrne wrote the book. No, seriously. That's when he show up next. Aside from also appearing in a cameo in Contest of Champions #1. He appeared in a novel. Yes, a novel called The Gathering of the Sinister Six, which is interesting. But this book is great. I love the Legion of Light story arc, which basically is wrapped by issue. It's only just a 4-parter. Yeah. Starts issue 12, wraps up issue 15. Yep, Brother Powder himself is actually killed off in issue 15. He, of course, been a threat there. I love the fact they built up this character since issue 4. And they culminate with this story arc here where he dies. And with his death, his wife is now a widow. Yep. And then, of course, basically she gets off Flash Thompson. Yeah. And, well, if you're curious, she becomes a recurring character for quite a while in this book. Yeah, for a while. Then she starts appears on Amazing Spider-Man, pops up again. And after 100, things change. She moved to Amazing Spider-Man. It was there for quite a while. Yeah. And after, I think it was, Whatever Spider-Man 3, she later returned to Amazing Spider-Man 222. Me. You could say probably her last appearance was in Amazing Spider-Man 280. Yeah, you could say that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But this book is fantastic. I give this book roughly a 10 out of 10. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. One more video, and then I'll go straight to Mushoku Tensei. Okay, next video. Bye.